There might be some music, chickens crowing in the background. Crowing?
No, they cockle.
Cockle? No. They don't cockle.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
There might be some chicken noises in the background. Like that.
We just wanted to take a little pause in our road trip series. It's been a year since we started this journey, and we just wanted to take this video to kind of review how the journey started, what we're doing now, what we see for the future as well. If you're here for the first time, we have a lot of videos for you to check out. And we're still on our road trip, but we just started the road trip series a few weeks ago, so you can catch up on all those videos, and we'll be continuing with that next week.
I feel like it's an interesting time to do this because right now is like the start of spring, and it's also in Thailand, the Thai New Year. So,
And it's also your birthday.
and it's
today.
also my birthday, so it feels like a very auspicious day to do this, really. Making it seem like a good time for reflection, looking back, but also like looking forward. Yeah, maybe we'll start at the beginning anyways.
I think from anyone else's perspective, looking into our lives at that time, people would say we were really successful. Essentially, we were working a lot and getting pretty tired and not seeing each other a ton. And I think beneath the surface, a lot of things brewing where we felt this wasn't the life for us. We didn't really know where to go next in our lives. You know, we had a good job, money coming in. We could have done a lot of things. We could have bought a house. We could have started a family. We could have, you know, the opportunities, the opportunities were endless. But none of it felt like the right decision moving forward. When I was watching Life with David, a Colombian YouTuber, and we had been to Colombia in the past, and he was just explaining his life in Colombia, and something just really inspired me to want to change the way that we were living. I think we had always had this dream that we were going to create a homestead or live off-grid or live in community. It's probably not going to happen unless we do something about that. So
Yeah, I think it kind of felt like our lives were very much on like a certain track, and that we had more or less just like fallen into that track as opposed to like actively choosing that as our life and our future. We have lots of friends that are like buying houses and having kids and everything, and it feels like that pressure was kind of starting to fall on us of like, well, what are you guys gonna do? Like, aren't you gonna have kids now? Or like, why don't you buy a house or whatever? And it just, something for both of us, it just felt like that's not it for us. Like, that's not the big decision that I wanna make. Like,
I think in the midst of that as well, like you can throw the pandemic into that. And I think, yeah, I mean, that it impacted the world. It made everyone a little crazy, a little depressed. And I think we were feeling that too, and also feeling like, well, this isn't, you know, if we wanted to have a family one day, if we wanted to buy a house, this isn't the culture that I want to live in and do that. I don't want to, bring a family up in this idea, this lifestyle. I want to also feel secure in my own ability to provide for myself and my family without money, really, without like the need for a job and security through the normal system. The pandemic just highlighted why that was so important, and highlighted that our dream was actually much deeper than just wanting to live off-grid. It was wanting to live an alternative lifestyle.
I think being more self-sufficient and becoming less reliant on like these big systems makes you more resilient as a human, as a family. Yeah, I think that was a big part of us like actually being like, okay, We just need to do this and take that first step into changing our lives and doing something different, and getting off of the track that we had, just kind of fallen into.
I think for us it was not an easy decision to leave behind our family, our friends, and our jobs. And some things were easier than others. We knew we had, some savings, so we weren't super worried about money, at least for the first little bit. I left a job and a company that I really enjoyed working for. Even though it wasn't like my passion, I was really good at it. And the people that I worked with were also amazing. But we kind of weighed everything and had to keep the bigger picture in mind in making this decision. So yeah, I think sometime between November and December decided that we would book our flight and go somewhere. We wanted to go to Colombia because we had been to Colombia before. We love it there. It's amazing. The people are great and the weather is really close to perfect. Our plan was, we're just going to go to Colombia. We're going to look at some land. We're going to buy something cheap and we're going to start a project. And it's funny how naive that sounds right now.
Yeah. I'm just like, wow. This is why people thought we were kind of crazy. Yeah.
But so that was the plan, and Colombia has 6-month visas for Canadians. So we decided we would go to Colombia in June, stay till December, leave for a week, come back in January, so we could have a whole year. But we knew that we needed to quit in basically March, April. I just pitched to Laurel one night. I was like, I know we need a place to go for a few months. Why don't we go to Thailand? And immediately she was just like, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
So we booked our flight. We booked our flight to Thailand.
The last time we left Thailand was when my brother died, and so so we left unexpectedly and kind of before we really felt like we were done with the country, which is so crazy to think that we're still here. And now that this is the place where we're considering being for longer. The start of our travel in Thailand really didn't have the focus on volunteering or learning about farming or anything like that. We were just kind of traveling around. And we first went to Phuket, and I remember really not liking it. It was just had so much of a party vibe that I really wanted to find something that was more local, more chill. That was when I pitched to Brendan to be volunteering, and that we should be not taking this time to just have a vacation, but actually utilizing it to learn new skills and really experience what it's like for people that are living and working on farms and having different agricultural products or projects. And that's kind of when we started looking for volunteering opportunities.
We didn't feel super satisfied just being a tourist. Yeah, it just felt like we were kind of taking from the country instead of learning anything. We were just purchasing everything. We found Jake and Jack's place in Hua Hin, and that was the first farm that we had gone to.
I feel like that was very eye-opening. Gardening in Thailand, feeding animals, working with animals, worms and everything. I feel like it was a completely new world to us. And I will not ever forget what the other volunteer there said to us as we were making these garden beds and doing a lot of hard work to make these garden beds. And she's like, I can't believe that you guys would want to do this for the rest of your lives. And I'm just pouring sweat, so hot. And I'm just yeah, oh my God, this is kind of crazy. But I just have this idea in our minds that this is what we want to do. And so I feel there's just so many new experiences that we had. Just like really put that dream into perspective about like what that really looks like in reality. It hasn't deterred us.
Yeah, I mean, it was a difficult experience in a lot of ways. Just learning what it was to live kind of more rurally in Thailand. Really experience like the culture of the people more, spending more time with Thai people. The heat was intense. And not knowing anything about like farming or permaculture or anything like that. It was a very steep learning curve at first. We enjoyed our time there ultimately. It was a really good place, and Jake and Jack are awesome people and they know a lot. And that, I think, really instilled a craving to do more things like that and see what other people were doing in Thailand. We had contacted Pun Pun about a month before that. At the time, they responded saying they're not accepting volunteers yet. They weren't ready. And while we were at Jake and Jack's, I remember just having the thought, I should just send Pun Pun another email, see if anything's changed.
Yeah, because things were changing from the pandemic. Things were opening up more.
Thailand was starting to open up, starting to relax the rules a little bit. And they responded like right away, yes, please come. Our volunteers will be open June 1st or something like this. Come whenever you want. Yeah, I think we then left Hua Hin for Chiang Mai, spent a few days in Chiang Mai.
It's funny because Pun Pun was not what we were expecting at all. Like I had a completely different picture in my mind about what Pun Pun would be like.
Yeah, we were a little confused, a little out of sorts. There was definitely some growing pains and some like adjustment that we needed to do when we first got there. But I think about 4 or 5 days in, it changed from like being slightly concerned about our time there to absolutely loving it.
And I think a big shift in just our mindset being there, it was clear that there was just a different way of like working and doing things, because it is so much more just like experiential, experimental in the way that they conduct, just conduct everything. And so that I think was challenging for us to like kind of shift our mindset into, as opposed to like there's a plan and a process and having a very kind of like structured Western mentality towards everything. And I think that also just like reveals something about the way that nature works as well. Like nature doesn't happen in straight lines and in perfect tidy little rows. Like there's so much more about it than just growing food or having like a beautiful little garden. It's about like restoring the natural environment and having diversity and having just having a breadth of like life and activity, and that sometimes looks kind of chaotic or messy. And
So at the end of our 3 weeks in Pun Pun, we had to leave to renew our visa for Thailand. And our plan was just to keep traveling after that. Maybe go to Malaysia, go to Indonesia, Philippines, keep volunteering, finding farms. I mean, I just had a moment that I was like, why are we leaving? We don't have to leave. Like, everything in my heart's telling me I should come back, that I didn't spend enough time here, that things were just starting to change us. And then we were leaving. And then fearing that that also might just happen the entire trip if we lived in that way. We decided on the way back that we should just go back to Pun Pun and spend some more time there because we had that ability. So we went to Malaysia and we scrambled as much as we could to get a visa to go back to Thailand, another 3-month visa, and went right back to Pun Pun.
Yeah, that really was like our only plan. We're just gonna go back. We're gonna spend maybe another 3 months in Thailand at Pun Pun and just experience more what it's like there. And I think that was kind of when the seed of maybe you could stay in Thailand longer. Like what does it look like if you stayed in Thailand?
So by this time, Colombia had totally left our minds.
Well, not completely.
Not completely,
I think,
but
no. At this point, we were thinking we would maybe travel around Asia for like a year or something, and then like go to South America. But just felt like, wow, you really love it here. These people are great. You're making really good like connections with people. Maybe you can just stay here. Like, why go to another new country and have this idea of like what it's gonna be like and, you know, make it perfect there. Maybe you already found something really great here. I think that just started like percolating in our minds of like, okay, what does that mean? Because our ability to stay in Thailand, I don't know, it's just not very easy. You know, everything kind of felt a little bit out of reach, and so we were like, is there any option for us to actually stay in Thailand? Shortly after we came back to Pun Pun, we met Jessica, who owns the land that we are renting near Pun Pun now. And that was just like a crazy coincidence and alignment. It seemed like as soon as we were like, yeah, we want to be here like longer term, that opportunity like just like presented itself to us of like, well, here's a place for you to live. There was just aspects of living at Pun Pun that we were like, maybe it would be better for us to have like our own space and just be able to work on our own things and even just be a little bit more independent and truly practice things on our own, which is, yeah, so much more challenging but also has, I think, a lot more learning contained within it when it's like, okay, here's the land that nobody's done anything with, as opposed to here's the land that people have been gardening and restoring for 20 years. Yeah. Also helps us realize like, what does it really mean experientially to be in Thailand? And that was, yeah, what we did for a month before we went back to Canada. And our 3-month tourist visa expired and we were waiting for our smart visa.
Yeah, so we needed to go somewhere for a little bit of time and then to come back and pick up our smart visa. And we just decided, like, why not go back home? And we also had a car. It was just sitting, doing nothing. So we decided that we'd probably sell that. That was like our last remaining possession. Our only really possession that we had anyways. Was a vehicle. We decided just go home, visit family, friends, do the things that we need to do, enjoy that time, because when we come back, we don't know the next time we're going to come home. And I think we still don't know that to this day.
Since we've come back from Canada and like been on our farm, on our land, I think there's been a lot of different like learning curves, even part of it being like motivation and like drive and like choosing to like do a certain project without other people being like, yeah, do this, or this is a good idea, or start here, of really just being like, here's the empty canvas, do something, can kind of give you what is it, decision paralysis or analysis paralysis?
Analysis paralysis.
Yeah, of being like, oh, maybe
too many
do
options,
this, this and this. And I think also still trying to like work through a mindset where you're afraid to make the wrong decision. You don't want to do the wrong thing or whatnot. And I think really that has come up so many times. Like when we talk to people, like, it's just do it. Like, don't worry about failing or doing this wrong or whatnot. Like, just do it, and you're gonna learn something. And maybe it won't work or whatever, but you're gonna learn something that you can take into the next time that you do it. Making things with bamboo, making our compost, making the raised bed, like I think...
Even just planting all the things that we planted before we left, the rows of cowpeas and corn that didn't work out.
Yeah, totally. Like there's so many things. I know that there's even more things that we could do because that mindset was still kind of plaguing us a bit. maybe part of it is like having videos and wanting to be like, oh, we have things figured out. If we film ourselves doing something completely wrong and we just look like complete fools, anybody that watches it is like, what are you doing? Feels intimidating to then do the thing.
I don't think I've ever actually worried about that.
Oh, really? I have. Yeah. I've totally thought about that.
There's always going to be people like that.
Yeah.
And honestly, the only comment I can ever remember that was like a little bit aggravating was just on how we filmed and told a story one time. And he was right. He was totally right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think you might get bad advice, or you might get good advice from people in the wrong way. And you just kind of have to take it for what it is. But ultimately, this channel is about our journey in learning, our journey in discovering what we're capable of and what we really want out of life. And that's not going to look perfect all the time. We're not going to be experts immediately. Like, the whole point is to work through that journey together and bring people into it, so that they can feel like they can change their lives or pursue something that they want to do. So for me, that's always been the primary goal, and then whatever foolery happens because of it is what it is.
Yeah.
From December to February, basically, trying to settle into living there, trying to establish some routines and things that we wanted to do in our lives. And I think a big focus for me was finding a way that we can make some sort of income online from the farm. And I think that potentially consumed me in a very like negative way, because it wasn't a pursuit of like passion and wanting to do something. It was kind of a pursuit of fear and anxiety about like not being able to do this forever.
Because we're not working.
Yeah, we're not making any money. YouTube doesn't make any money yet, and it costs money to live here. So we are watching our savings go down, and that's a thing that gives me worry, because I've worked since I've been 12 years old, illegally, in Canada.
Should you say that?
I think it's in the past now. I worked at a pizza place. But yeah, I've worked since I've been super young, and I've always had like an income, and I've enjoyed that freedom and ability to provide for myself through money. And now we're kind of stepping away from money as being the thing that sustains us. And there's a lot of things that I need to let go of and trust in God, and I really have no reason to believe that we'll be let down in the future. And even if we are, like something will, an opportunity will present itself, and everything will ultimately be okay. But I think, spending a lot of time consumed with how do we make money? How do I do something that's gonna bring us an income to at least break even? To at least keep our savings, because I think I see our savings as like the thing that will one day allow us to start our own project and buy our own land, and I don't want to see that disappear.
Yeah. And I think also part of it is like wanting to make an income without sacrificing so much of ourselves. Like, we made great incomes in Canada, but we sacrificed so much of ourselves, like personally, for that. Like, not only our time, but just like emotionally, psychologically. Like, for me personally, I felt like I was not in a healthy space because I was sacrificing so much of myself for my work. And so I think, just trying to figure out like the balance in what does it look like for us to like live in alignment with like our values and of like what we want for our life and our lifestyle, that also can like support us financially. And that's a challenging thing to do. That really is like a big part of it, of like having the balance and not just slaving away, at a job in Thailand and essentially being in the same kind of place that we were in Canada. I think that's kind of maybe still a little bit of an ongoing pursuit.
I mean,
but
it's something we still need to figure out, and I think it consumed a little bit, well, a lot more time than I would have liked it to during those months. And I feel like we weren't as productive on the farm as we could have been, should have been. And yeah, just learning now from that experience that there's things we can change about the way we live that will bear more fruit for us, I think.
We knew that we probably wanted to leave during the smoky season, but I think that also was really a big blessing in disguise, because the smoke kind of pushed us like out of another little bubble that was created. And I think that's, like you said, like that's a bit of a theme, and maybe that's just human nature, that
we build bubbles around ourselves.
You build little bubbles. You make a comfort zone. Like you move outside of a comfort zone, and then you get comfortable again. And so you have to keep on pushing yourself out of what's comfortable to do new things, to learn and grow in different ways. And so it really has like pushed us to go on this road trip, and I feel like we've just had like kind of an exponential growth in terms of like our mindset of what we're learning, like new ideas. Like I feel like we've just experienced so much in the past month since being away from our farm, that it's just been huge. I think has really like created a big shift for me anyways.
Through the people we've met, the places we've experienced, that we just have so much more opportunity and connections and a network in Thailand that we didn't really know before, but now we feel more connected to. And I think that does feel like things are opening up for us, that there is a lot of opportunity here, and also just giving us so many ideas to bring back to Chiang Mai as well, and how we'd like to change the way that we're living there, change the way that we're making YouTube videos. It's been a really fun thing to do, to take this road trip and bring you guys along, but I have to tell you it's been so difficult as well to film something that really captures what's been happening. Like Laurel and I have had literally 2 or 3 days that we've been alone in this entire road trip. And we're going on 6 weeks now. And it's been a lot, and it's hard to capture time with friends. It's hard to capture time with new people, with strangers. Part of me is just also okay with just living life sometimes and not making everything a YouTube video. And not sticking a camera in everybody's face all the time, or our own. And maybe that makes us subpar YouTubers. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm okay with that if it means that I'm living life more fully.
I think maybe changing how we share things, and maybe giving just a bit more thought and depth to what we're sharing, as opposed to just kind of trying to entertain people or like vlog things. To think that anybody like enjoys our videos or finds like value or whatnot is really rewarding, especially because I think at the very least it's documentation just of our lives and memories that I can then look back on and be able to share with people or show people in the future. I'm proud of us for like sticking with it, and even when it's been like hard or taxing or just like feeling exhausted.
Unrewarding.
Or just felt like, why are we kind of doing this for nothing?
It takes a lot of time. A lot of time of our week, a lot of time of Laurel's days editing.
I'm just proud that we have kind of like stuck with it and continued to like make videos and capture things, and also just tried to still maintain some balance in our lives where that's not taking over everything.
So I think our goals moving forward in the next year. We have a lot of them, but I think the most important ones for us are learning Thai, really like diving into that, because we feel like that's just one more step that we need to take in terms of integrating into Thailand and really getting to know the people on a deeper level and getting to know people that we can't really communicate well with.
The thing that's really come to mind over the past couple weeks of this road trip is just like the value in like building and investing into the land. And I think we've kind of hesitated to do that more fully because
It's not
our land. Like, you know, we don't really know how long we're going to be there. But I think just seeing what a place can be like when people just like plant some trees and put a little like love and energy, it just, yeah, it can make it so beautiful, and that like rewards you and anybody that like is a part of that land so far into the future. And so I feel like kind of inspired to just, yeah, like really like invest in plant things just because it's good to plant things and yeah, take care for the land.
Also just test our skills and ability to create something beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna take time, it's gonna take money, it's an investment, and it's not necessarily one that we'll directly benefit from immediately, but someone will, and it will be appreciated. So if it's gonna help us and it's gonna help hone our skills, it's gonna make the land more beautiful, the ecosystem better, then I think we want to invest some time and money into doing that. And I think another big goal for us is still finding a way to support ourselves online, to make things at least sustainable, like even for us, because right now it costs quite a bit of money to live in Thailand, especially on this road trip. Gas has been really expensive, buying the car has been expensive, fixing the car has been expensive, but it was something that I'm really glad we did. And I have no regrets about spending that money. We just need to figure out a way to, moving forward, make our lifestyle a little bit more sustainable. And yeah, I think there's many avenues we can go down. I mean, I hope that YouTube is more successful this year for us, and that we can find a way to make a little bit of income through that. We are monetized now, so we do have, cents coming in at this point.
A few cents, yeah.
It could turn into dollars at some point. That's exciting. And yeah, just maybe finding some other ways online that we could make some money. And we'll also be developing our app this year, which is part of our visa requirement to stay here, but also the more we talk to people and the more we really like tell them what we want to create, at least in this network of permaculture and bond-in builders and everything like this, everyone thinks it's a really good idea. So I think that's inspired us to think a little bit more about how we can actually make this something that's going to be really beneficial for people, and
also hopefully, yeah, be maybe a little bit of a source of revenue for us. And even just support, whatever other pursuits that we are pursuing.
Pursuits we're pursuing. Yeah, and I think, having our YouTube channel and being able to reach people already is potentially a good way to offer you guys something that might be interesting to you for an exchange of money. And because it feels weird asking people for money without anything in return. And I know the YouTube videos are something, but I think if we had a product that we could offer somebody, it would feel more like a good exchange.
Yeah.
We want to thank you guys so much for all your support and watching us and subscribing to us. It means a lot.
Yeah, when people comment, like, it actually is like really lovely and wonderful to just hear from people, hear your thoughts, your reactions to things, and just have your support is yeah, really, really encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the thing that keeps us going.
I feel like we have a lot of fresh energy to like take into this next year, and I can't wait for the smoke to clear so that we can head back and actually just start really digging in and moving forward in that way.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a really, really big transformative year for us.
Yeah.
And while the last year felt like a lot of settling in, a lot of finding our new routines, finding our place here, I think...
Just learning so much.
And learning, learning so much. I think this next year will be a lot about us honing in on the things that we love to do and getting better at them.
Yeah. And I think really actually like living out the things that we're learning. Like shifting the way that we think about things so that we are actually changing how we're living as opposed to just observing and learning theoretically, but like really putting things into practice. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much for watching.
We'll see you in the next video.
Okay. สวัสดีครับ